We will talk to Democratic Congressman Jim McDermott from Washington in just a bit after he finishes voting. In the meantime, we bring in our panel. Chris Steyerwalt, Fox News Politics Editor Digital, David Drucker of Roll Call, Kirsten Powers, columnist of the New York Post, and columnist Pete Wehner. David, we'll start with you. Overall impression of this deal, and maybe who's on the upside and who maybe sacrificed a little bit to get this through?
Well, you know, it was a very interesting day because in the Capitol all day we kept watching this and trying to figure out who was going to cave or was nobody going to cave. And what I found very interesting, first of all, was that the President's remarks, he embraced this deal, which was very unlike the tax deal back in December, if you remember. He went before the cameras and said, this is the worst thing I've ever seen, but heck, I'm going to do it because I have no choice. Here he was talking all about these spending cuts, and we have to do it. I wish I didn't have to. This is a great deal. Everybody compromised. Boehner and Reid both played very nice all day, which is why I thought we might be getting somewhere. Because what we've learned in the Capitol, if staff is talking and if leaders are going to the cameras and saying horrible things about each other while staff is talking, it means we might be getting somewhere. And I don't think anybody really wanted a shutdown because nobody was sure that they were going to benefit. And I feel what this does, number one, is give House Republicans credibility to move on to the debt ceiling fight and Paul Ryan's budget. And it gives Democrats a little breathing room to say, look, we believe in spending cuts. We can play nice. And that way, when they object to Paul Ryan's budget next and they have some things to say about the debt ceiling, people might take them seriously. Yeah. Chris,
you know, there was a lot of talk all day long about the Planned Parenthood provision to defund Planned Parenthood, Title X. Here's the details according to the House GOP as they see them. The list: $38.5 billion in spending cuts. Now, this is the largest in American history. Both sides concede that. A guarantee that the Senate, the Democratic Senate, will vote on a repeal of health care. That's a big concession for Democrats to give that. New tools in the fight to repeal health care. These are audits and essentially mandates that they have to look at certain elements of the health care law. Denies additional funding to the IRS. The administration had sought to increase federal funding to hire more agents to enforce health care law. Guarantees a Senate vote on defunding Planned Parenthood. Bans taxpayer funding of abortion in the District of Columbia, also talked about all day today. And mandatory audits of the new bureaucracy set up under the Financial Protection Bureau, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. It seems like they got a lot. I mean, this is the House GOP look at it, but it seems like Democrats gave a lot.
I honestly cannot figure how they got all of that stuff. I mean, I don't want to call it a rout, but it's like Boehner ran him off the field, and this is not where I expected this to go. This is not what I thought I would see at the end of today. I thought it would be a grinding, small-scale stuff. One thing that's very important in that list you just went through, a vote on the President's national health care law. I can tell you right now, Joe Manchin in West Virginia, Claire McCaskill in Missouri, John Tester in Montana, these people
Ben Nelson in Nebraska
do not want to have to vote one way or the other. They do not want to vote on this at all. And this measure is going to come forward, and they're going to have to restate their position on the President's law. This is Boehner. I think Boehner's great success here was the window opened this week for troop funding. And he said, let's put the troop funding bill out there and let's set the Senate up so that they're in a tough spot. And the pressure was on him, and in the end, I think he rolled him.
Kirsten, you agree?
Well, you know, I think that Boehner's great success was these riders, that he was able to somehow use these riders to just manipulate the Democrats into giving so much more than they ever wanted to give in the first place.
Like, look over here at this bad thing
and well,
give us something
basically
else.
They were bribing their way out of it, you know, and it's pretty incredible when you think about it that the billions of dollars they were willing to keep on adding on to avoid Planned Parenthood getting cut $300 million. And so in that sense, I mean, I do think that he played it very well. Now what the Democrats are saying is they're saying, no, Boehner lost because his number was $80 billion and he didn't get to it and he didn't end up with his riders even if he's forcing these votes, and we don't really care about these votes because they're not that big of a deal, and you know, yeah, they're not going to pass anyway. But I think your point is taken that maybe they're not going to pass, but they're certainly going to make things uncomfortable for some members.
Yes. Pete.
Yeah, I agree. This was a huge win for John Boehner and the House Republicans. I think he played his hand very, very well. But in answer to what Chris had said, which is he was surprised, how did this happen? I think the 2010 elections is how it happened. It's really remarkable how the center of gravity in American politics has shifted. If you look at the rhetoric that Reid and President Obama used today in embracing these cuts, celebrating them for 2 years, everything was going in the other direction. There's a kind of rhetorical concession that's gone on, and now there are actual substantive budget cut concessions that have gone on. John Boehner got the biggest cuts in American history on bill, and this is the second time Republicans have won. 5 months ago, in the lame duck session, they got the extension of the Bush tax cut, so they're on a winning streak.
And let's remember that the president's proposal was to have a spending freeze. And now we're at $38.5 billion in cuts.
Yeah,
it's a pretty remarkable jump.
Well, and it's sort of interesting that you're seeing already the Democrats taking credit for making cuts, you know, and so they were sort of pushed into a position that's now actually going to benefit them.
Okay, let's take another live look at the House floor. They're just finishing up the vote tally on this vehicle, they call it, the bridge bill, and there you see it, 341 to 68. You know, the clock's done, but there are a few other votes.